So you have a pretty great career in the city. Then suddenly you have this great idea. Move to the suburbs and raise chickens. Yes, you heard that right. Raise chickens. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss this real-life Green Acre story today on Faith on Film. Hello and welcome to Faith on Film. We got a very interesting show today. As I mentioned in the teaser, this gentleman had kind of a complete change in living, if you will. So I hope it's an interesting story. I hope I didn't totally mess it up there when I read the teaser, but we'll find out what the reality is on this. Let me read you his bio. Brad Hauter is a man of diverse interest and talents. He's been guiding individuals and projects to success for more than 25 years, whether coaching a winning soccer team, writing and producing a television series, or lending his talent in front of the camera or microphone. Brad seeks excellence in all aspects of his career. As principal in a television production company, Brad has written, produced, hosted and or distributed a variety of nationally syndicated television series, including two that we have on Uplift TV and Parables, which is Coop Dreams and Coops for Troops. Brad, welcome to Faith on Film.
Hey, thank you, Isaac.
This is you've got an interesting story. I met you a couple of, maybe, 2-3 years ago, basically telling me about a show that you had produced. But before we even get into any of that, you know what we need to do is find out a little bit about your journey into filmmaking. That's kind of the tradition of this show, is we like to take that first segment and find out who you are and how you got here. So take
Sure.
the next 5 minutes and give us your entire life story.
Gotcha. I kind of stumbled into it. I think looking back, this is a career that I wish I would have thought about more as a kid and been polished coming through things. I think I stumbled into it and had to learn as I go, but it all kind of had its roots in 1999. I had the great honor of being asked to be the spokesperson for Keep America Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And when I grew up, they had this nationwide advertising campaign where they had this Native American who was crying on the side of the road as this group of teenagers drove.
I remember that.
Anybody from our era remembers that. It was such an impactful commercial. And then they sort of died from national relevance for a bit. And they were looking at this way of trying to get some visibility back and to raise some money. And so they had this idea of driving a lawnmower across the United States, and the media attention that would garner, they had hoped would lead into conversations about the environment, sustainability, and Keep America Beautiful. And so I was very fortunate to be asked to be the spokesperson on that campaign.
Right.
We had over 300 million branded media impressions from that trip in 1999. It won the PR Campaign of the Year. We raised over $250,000 for the charity, and they went from 300 events across the United States to 30,000 within the next couple of years. So we were part of that spark, but we weren't the complete part of it. And then I remember I went back to coaching. That's what I was trained to do. I'm a soccer coach. And so in 2003, my phone rings, pick it up, and it is Keep America Beautiful again. And all they said was, do you want to get the band back together? And immediately I knew that they were planning on another lawnmower trip. So in 2004, we went back the other way across the country, and very similar as a way to drive awareness for the charity and drive funds. And it was on the heels of that one. We ended in New York. I got called into Lorne Michaels' production company, and they said, we'd like to do a TV show around this lawnmower character. And I said, well, I'd be really excited to talk to you about it, but I'm a soccer coach. I don't understand television. And so we talked for about 6 months. And when the contracts came in, they were for me to move my family to either New York or Los Angeles, where they had production facilities. And at that time, we had 4-year-old twins. And I did not feel confident to do a complete career change and move to a higher cost of living area. And if nobody liked the show, if nobody watched the show, then I'm an out-of-work soccer coach in New York or Los Angeles with 4-year-old twins. And it's really difficult to get back into coaching. And so I couldn't take that that chance. Series of odd conversations developed from that, from the charity, from some of the sponsors of that lawnmower drive that said, we kind of got excited about this, and this really predates product placement and product integration. Mm-hmm. We were really excited about this 30-minute television show featuring our products and featuring our brands and our messaging. We're sorry that you turned it down, but if we did it where you didn't have to leave home, would you be willing to do that? And I said, yeah, I'd be interested in looking. I want to preface everything by I'm a soccer coach and don't have any experience in this. And I'm sure from your experience in the industry, you know that there's a lot of people that are on the coasts for a bit.
Sure.
Cost of living or a show or a movie or lifestyle change drives them back home or has them go back to their family. So as I started making some phone calls in and around Indianapolis at this time, there were a lot of people that have worked on major shows that have come back for a variety of reasons and started production companies for corporate videos or local television that would be really excited to undertake this project. Mm-hmm. So, we jumped in the pool, learned how to swim, made a lot of mistakes that first year. And our first show that we produced came out in 2004. That series had a run of about 8 years. And from those experiences and the failures and the successes that we had, we understood the whole business as it's changing. I don't think in 2004, 2005, the industry was still very, very ad driven and still very, very commercial driven. And then with DVR technology and digital technology, it sort of moved to, people getting content and consuming content when they want, how they want, and in the variety they want. And so we were kind of on the front of that by mistake, understood it. And then from that point, we've been able to launch 6 or 7 different TV shows, do a documentary, and are excited that, we're in a position where if we're really passionate about a project, we're able to launch it ourselves.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some of those projects that you're mentioning here. Specifically, we'll talk about, of course, 2 that are on Uplift and Parables, but I know there's others that perhaps you'd like to talk about. So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
Sunflowers. To pollinate and reproduce, they turn and face the sun. Nature's way of reminding us that for ultimate growth, we must seek the light. Parables. The leader in empowering entertainment. Parables. Be empowered. Start your free trial today.
I wonder if penguins have knees. I wonder how many colors we can't see. I wonder why there's so many stars in the universe. I wonder if we ever looked like apes.
You want to find out?
I wonder if puppies have belly buttons.
Hello and welcome to Faith on Film. We're here with Brad Hauter, who, by the way, you mentioned something that, as you were telling your story, I didn't want to interrupt you, but it just caught my attention, and that is, did you say you drove a lawnmower across the country?
Yes, it was. They were trying to figure out how to bring attention to the environment, sustainability, recycling, conservation, and they thought, hey, this might be a good vehicle to do that with. And so they put out a nationwide search for a spokesperson. And that ad that I referenced was so impactful for me that it made me feel like, hey, I'd like to connect. I'd like to help this charity out.
That's great. I still can't get past the drove a lawnmower across. I've driven across the country about 5 times in a nice truck, but driving in a lawnmower, how long did that take? And I'm assuming you made a lot of stops, obviously. Yeah,
I tell you, in order to garner more media, they wanted to set a Guinness record. And there were some requirements from Guinness that it had to be the same mower, the same driver, and wherever we stopped one day, that's where we had to start the next. So there was no skipping any inch of the United States. The first one took 67 days. The second one was 81 days. And part of that, too, was we were doing community cleanups as we went along.
Wow. And my wife was complaining about traveling for 3 days across the country. But that's a story for another day. So in the teaser I mentioned you basically leaving whatever work you were doing and deciding to raise chickens. How did that happen? I mean, what suddenly got you to thinking, maybe I want to raise chickens?
Yeah, that's it's kind of a connection back to Keep America Beautiful. When I was selected to be the spokesperson, there's a lot of education that they wanted me to go through. Not just media training and how to handle difficult questions, and when people are negative about the message, how do you still get the information across? So all of this talk about sustainability and recycling and environment and conservation. And when you're going through all of this training to speak about the great work that Keep America Beautiful does, it becomes really difficult to live every day counter to that. Mm-hmm. So as I'm going through all of this training and then having to speak publicly about the kinds of things we need to do to make our food sources better, to make our planet better, to make our communities better, it becomes hypocritical to not make those changes in your life. And so even though we lived in a town and lived in a neighborhood, we started having this thought about getting a little bit of land. Can we raise our own food? Can we create a healthier, more sustainable environment? So as we teach our kids about being good stewards to the environment and being good in your community, that we can actually live it as well. So while it didn't actually develop until 2008, 2009, it does have its roots back in 1999.
All right, so you moved to, I guess, basically the country, and you start raising chickens. But somewhere along that line, I don't know if you even had an idea that it was going to become a show, but you decided to make it a reality series.
Right. Yeah, it was, as we've gotten into this, now we're 5 years into having chickens.
Okay.
We met a lot of people in the chicken keeping community, and it is almost identical of a story where somebody in the family has the idea and everybody else in the family goes, whoa, no, we don't want to go down that road. And then it's a gradual process. And so as I was trying to convince my family and my wife that this would be a good next step, you're going on YouTube, you're going on different Vimeo, you're going on different blogs and stuff and trying to gather information. And everything that I had seen did not speak to our lifestyle. Every home was perfectly manicured lawn, garden with flowers everywhere, and we just don't live that way. I mean, it's not that our house is in disarray, but our yard does have weeds. It's not perfectly manicured. And so as we're looking through all these things, none of them spoke to our lives. And so we thought, well, maybe we could film something for YouTube, and maybe we could put something out there that would have other people that are interested that don't have the perfect home, the perfect garden, the perfect yard, and it would encourage them to understand about the challenges, and we could kind of document our journey. And we were really excited that, networks like Uplift and Parables have said, hey, we like that family-friendly, wholesome message, and we'll support that vision. And so 2014, we had the idea to actually show it, and that's where I met you at NRB a number of years ago. And we're very fortunate that there's enough people that looked at it and said, we'll give that a shot. And here we are now in year 5, coming up on 55 episodes. It's incredible.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take another quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about a program that you're also doing, another series that we have on the network that again deals with a very important subject, and it's a subject very personal to me because I do have a son that spent 6 years in the Army. So we'll talk about that a little bit. All right, so folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Have you ever considered being an actor or director of a major feature film? Sounds crazy, right? But what if God is calling you to do just that? To use your gift in a non-traditional way, like redemptive filmmaking. Let this be your pulpit. So what are you waiting for? Call now. This could be the spark that ignites your ministry.
Christian filmmaking. Our operators are standing by right now. 469-655-3222. Remember to visit our website at www.transformfilm.com.
And you learn filmmaking on 2 backlots, a first-century backlot and a small-town backlot under the watchful eyes of Christian professional filmmakers and university film school professors like Dr. Mark Kuchin. So what are you waiting for?
469-655-3222. Transformation Film Institute, a place where passion meets purpose.
This summer, come to Orlando and bring your family to the Holy Land experience, where the true heroes live. See with your own eyes the stories of the Bible come to life as you have never seen them before. Through breathtaking live stage musical productions, you and your family will encounter the true heroes of our history. Make memorable moments this summer at Orlando's premier family vacation destination, the Holy Land Experience, where the true heroes live.
Hello and welcome back to Faith on Film. Brad, there is another program, and again, everything that you do seems to have some kind of, it's like you want to help somebody. And there's another program that takes us back to chickens, but this one is tied to veterans. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, and again, I wish I could take credit for these things. I seem to stumble into some really unique opportunities. We were down filming an episode of Coop Dreams in Austin, Texas. And the people that were giving us a tour of chicken coops in Austin, Texas, said, you need to come over here and see this. And it wasn't part of our scheduled trip. And they took us to a nursing home that was using chickens as therapy animals. And the ability to experience it firsthand, the impact that the chickens had on the residents and that the residents had on the chickens was overwhelming. And we all left that nursing home and thought, wow, I never would have expected a chicken as a therapy animal. And so we started doing some research and Googling things, and we found out that chickens are really, really good at positively impacting depression, loneliness, loss of self-worth, and PTSD. And when we saw PTSD, you immediately think of military.
Right.
And so we started thinking, well, can we now introduce chicken keeping to veterans and military families that are either struggling with PTSD or depression or reintegration into society? And so we were just going to do it as a segment in an episode of Coop Dreams. And that segment hit with such volume. We got so much traction on our social media that we thought, well, let's put this into its own series where we could maybe benefit more veterans and more military families, because maybe we can't give them a Coops for Troops package, but if they watch the show and how it positively impacts another veteran, maybe they'll introduce chickens into their own life, and that will help return some purpose and some work.
Wow. Now, of course, we're talking raising chickens, not eating chickens.
Well, I think there's merit in both. This one, I think the way that the loss of self-worth that I think some military members have on reintegration is returned by caring for something and taking care of it and nurturing it. And so what we found is that these veterans do keep them as pets. They send us pictures of the chicks that they hatch. Some of them have added goats. Some of their flocks have grown significantly. But it's great to see that we've built this community of veterans and military families who are receiving a positive impact from chickens.
Well, I tell you, once you mentioned that program to me when you we're going to start producing that one, I obviously, because of my son, I right away said, oh yeah, we've got to have this program. So folks, you actually can watch that show, Coops for Troops, on Uplift TV, as well as Parables. So go check it out on either one of those places, and you'll really enjoy the program. And it is kind of nice to see the effect that these chickens have on the veterans. I've heard of horses being good for therapy, but I had never heard of chickens. So that's kind of new and very interesting. Maybe I should start raising chickens. I don't know how much.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things with it too is, horses, dogs, all of those things have been shown to be good therapy animals. And you do not think of chickens, but chickens is a low cost entry. So it's a little easier for some to get into because a coop is different than a barn and certainly less pricey on the feed. And they give you breakfast.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Yeah. I do remember when I was a kid, I had ducks. I actually picked up like, I don't know, a dozen ducks, 12 ducks. It was a mess, just especially ones I started. I picked them up as ducklings, and then eventually they were, they grew up and they started to be able to fly. Oh, that was a real mess. But one thing is they gave really good eggs every morning.
Well, yes, they do.
So yeah, I can see the benefit of that. Well, listen, I'm gonna ask you about something that has nothing to do with films, has nothing to do with with chickens, has nothing to do with any of this. But I found it rather interesting. I read it on online, and it says that you actually hold patents for 2 inventions. One of them, which is still in the shelves of Walmart. What in the world did you invent? Was there something for chickens?
Yeah, no. Maybe that'll come at some point. This was, my training was as a soccer coach. And so this is a soccer training device. I was running camps. And one of the problems that really young kids have is if they don't have good control over the ball, it goes away from them. And then they struggle to really stay engaged because they're constantly having to chase the ball. So this was a string with a net that you could put your ball into, and it had a belt. And so even if they mistouched it, the ball would keep coming back to them. Oh, nice. And I got lucky that Walmart picked it up and Target picked it up. And yeah, it's been a 25-year journey. I keep scratching my head thinking, wow, that idea was pretty good.
That's fantastic. Well, again, that had nothing to do with filmmaking, but I just found it interesting. So listen. What if people want to get a hold of you, want to write you an email or just find out what you're doing? What's the best way to keep contact with you?
Yeah, there's 2 ways. Coop Dreams Facebook page, message there. We're always on there. We're always answering that. And then my personal email is brad@fadedjeans.tv, and I welcome any kind of conversations. Happy to help young filmmakers, new filmmakers, people that stumble into it that don't have training. I don't have all the answers. I'm not an expert, but I always enjoy those conversations.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Next show you might want to be something like Coops for Filmmakers, because I got to tell you, we definitely need sometimes a little, whatever that's, exactly. So anyway, thank you once again. And, everybody just keep looking out for his program and write him a letter, just an email. Just let him know that you're behind him and, you're praying for him. This is a Christian show, so we have a lot of Christians, and we want to pray for you, Brad, all right? So let them know, folks. Write them and let them know you're praying for them.
Love it. Thank you, Isaac.
You bet. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Cell reproduction, more than duplication. It's careful selection and organization, ensuring the perfect balance for development and growth. Powerful, so is our programming. Parables, the leader in empowering entertainment. Parables. Be empowered. Start your free trial today.
Sight and Sound Theaters invites you to experience one of the most powerful Bible stories ever told.
Samson, you're going to deliver our people from the Philistines.
God gave him the strength to fight thousands.
Where does he get his strength from? Nobody's that strong.
But his greatest challenge will be living with his own choices.
Who are you?
Delilah.
We want you to find out the secret of his strength.
We will destroy Samson.
Playing in Branson for one last encore season. Get ready for a mighty adventure for the whole family.
You are my rock and my strength. Be with me today.
Samson, live on stage at Sight and Sound Theaters in Branson, Missouri.
I wonder how long a dolphin lives. I wonder if they can make cookies in space. I wonder when people started brushing their teeth. I wonder if people and dinosaurs ever lived together.
Want to find out?
I wonder how much a cloud weighs.
Welcome back to Faith on Film. I want to thank you for joining us for today's show. I also want to remind you to write me and just let me know how you're enjoying these shows. Just simply write me at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at faithonfilmtv. Remember, if you want to keep a healthy soul, you want to feed it good, healthy entertainment. Until next week, take care. Now, of course, we're talking raising chickens, not eating chickens.
Well, I think there's merit in both. Hey, Jackster.
What?
What would you think about me starting a chicken farm out here?
No.
You didn't even think about it, though.
I don't have time for your stupid ideas, Brad. I'm busy.
So you don't have time now? We'll talk about it later, okay? Okay. See ya.